So hi everybody, welcome to our session tonight. My name is Sarah Clark. I am one of the MIE Fellows here in Scotland, and we're doing this session tonight with Tablet Academy for anybody who is wanting to find out a little bit more about the MIE Expert programme that Microsoft run for their teachers and educators, and also to give you an opportunity to take you through the process, let you see what happens during the process of your self-nomination. And if anybody has any questions or needs any help or wants to ask anything about their application, then feel free to put that in the comments today. So I'm just going to share my screen in a little minute and give you a little overview of it. Down here, share screen, and just put this up with some of my slides for tonight. And I'll present that. So as I said, I'm the lead fellow here up in Scotland, and if you are using Twitter and use social media, you will find me on Twitter at SFM36. Now, throughout the session tonight, Tablet Academy, Niall's there in the background. He's going to be putting up some links for you, so you can go on there and have a little look at any of the links that we put up tonight, which might be helpful for you with your application. So we'll get started. I put this slide up first of all just to kind of show my...
Sorry there, Sarah. Can I interrupt there? Sorry, could you share your screen again for us? It's not come through on my side yet.
Oh, I am sharing.
Thank you.
Can you see that now?
Perfect, yes. Thank you very much.
We'll go first then. We'll go again. So at SFM36, there we go. I'm down here if you're looking for me on Twitter. But this slide I've put up before at events that I've done to talk a little bit about, what the MIE Expert community is about and the benefits of joining. And I joined the educator community back in 2014. So I'm back in kind of 7 years ago. I joined about it and I heard about it on Twitter. And when I joined it, I was looking for something to get me enthusiastic again. My passion was digital learning, and I wanted to be able to work alongside and speak to and connect with like-minded educators across Scotland and across the UK. And the beauty of the MIE Expert programme is that there is a community that we have in Scotland, Team MIEE Scotland. We meet up regularly. There's about 200 people within that, and that ranges from primary school teachers, high school, colleges, universities. There are education trainers in there. There's digital officers in there. There's head teachers. There's so many. It's such a wide variety of people. But as well as having that community in Scotland, it also opened up doors to a community in the UK. And down this bottom left, these are a couple of people that I've met during my time being an MIE expert. And these guys, I connect with them all the time through social media. We support each other, ask for help. The community comes back to you with help. And it's given me the opportunity to go out and share my passion for digital learning with so many other teachers. I've done stuff within my school. I've done stuff within my local authority. I was really lucky the last couple of years. I've been down in London for BET, which is a big educational technology event that occurs. Invited along to events that Microsoft do to be a participant, to be a presenter. And I've kind of, when I started off, I really was just working with teachers in my school and within my department. And that kind of got me on the training ladder as well. So becoming an MIE expert, I then went on and became an MIE trainer. And then I started doing bigger events and I became a master trainer. And 2 years ago, I became MIE Fellow, which I am still MIE Fellow, along with Rosalind Lee and Amanda Pickard and Bill Crawford. So we've got a wide variety of us now helping the community up here. It was at a time when I actually was really struggling in education. I didn't know what I wanted to do for my time. I didn't know where I wanted to be. And the community became my professional learning network, and it is the best network ever. The people are like-minded, and if you've got any questions or you need any support, there's always somebody to ask. And within the community, there's never, ever a question that's a silly question. It can be something really simple that you're looking for the answer to, and I guarantee somebody will know the answer to it. So when I started on this journey, I never thought that 7 years later I would still be here, sharing what I do with people, and really building on that, and looking for where I go next, and who I can help and who I can support. Which then brings me to this session tonight with Tablet Academy. So in terms of what an MIE expert is, a lot of people say, well, you know, I'm no expert. I am no expert in digital learning. I have a passion for it. I have it in my classroom. I support other teachers within my school. And that really is what an MIE expert is. It is somebody that is using Microsoft tools within their classroom and linking that in with other technologies that they do, that they are wanting to share that and supporting other people within their school, or wider. It could be that you're just working with a small department. That's fine. That's what being an MIE expert is about. It's about sharing. So in terms of where you start off, anybody that's wanting to be an MIE expert is probably familiar with the Microsoft Educator Centre, or MEC for short, this one up here. So you're looking to be a certified MIE, that is, you've done the basic 2 hours worth of training, and then building upon that afterwards. MIE experts are innovative. They look for problems and how the technology can help support them, bring about creativity in their teaching and the learning of the students, and want to connect with that global community. It's not about joining the programme and then just using Microsoft tools within your classroom. That's part of it. But it's really about wanting to go out and improve yourself and improve the learning and teaching in the classroom for your students, for the learners that you're working with. So most people, when they first get asked, they go, I'm no expert. But the majority of people that are using this technology probably would really benefit from being on the MIE Expert programme. So in terms of the benefits, I've gone through a couple that I find the benefits. As I said, like-minded educators globally. I have people that I connect with within the UK. I have met people that are over in all four corners of the world. In fact, the other day I was just having a wee chat with a couple of teachers that I have met through the programme that are over in Texas. And it wasn't an education chat. It was just, how are we doing? How are we getting on? How are things in your school? And learning that the trials and tribulations that we're having here in Scotland are very similar to the ones that they're having in other countries as well, and speaking to them about the solutions. So you'll have that network. You also get the opportunity to develop your own digital skills, and that is going to have a huge impact on the learning and teaching of your students and the people that you're working with. There's always invitations to events. At the moment, a lot of those events are online, but there will be in-person events, and you hear about them. And every month there is a UK connection call. So as an MIE expert, we're added to a UK team with the UK Education Microsoft team running it. We've got Louise there, and we've got Jen, which is a teacher lead. And the team has all the MIE experts, I think it's about 1,400 of us in the UK that are in there, that can, support each other, collaborate together, make connections. But there's also a call every month as well that people can join. And that call has sharing from other MIE experts all over the UK. We often have people from the product team coming in as well. So we've had people from the whiteboard team. Mike Tholson often comes on from the OneNote team, the guys from Forms, PowerPoint, telling us what's upcoming and what's new within their platforms, so that you can get a wee heads up and sharing that with your school, so that you know what's coming. There's the opportunity to become a trainer. And as I've said, this idea of being a community is, for me, that's been the biggest benefit, and everything else permeates from that community. So there's lots and lots of benefits to being an MIE expert. So I actually used this before. This is our team MIE Scotland, and I went to them and I asked them what were the benefits to them of being an MIE expert. This is about a year old, this one, and a lot of these guys that gave us their quotes actually are still on the programme and are involved in many events that we do. We also have Scotland calls, and we try and have one every month, and every week the MIE experts in Scotland that are working from home, Ros heads up a session with them, and they have an opportunity to share because they're all working from home at the moment. So the guys, you can sit down and you can read all these ones, but I think a lot of the people have found that it helped them within their classroom. It's helped them to develop their knowledge and give them that network of people to work with. And a lot of them said that they were using the Educator Centre as their starting point, and then they've built their own skills beyond that. We actually had a tweet meet the other week as well. If you scan that QR code that's there, we actually had a tweet meet just last week, half an hour on a Thursday night, and we invited the MIE experts to come along and tell us what they found were the benefits of it. So if you scan that QR code, you'll be able to see all the tweets that were put together. One of the MIE fellows down in Wales, we run the tweet meet along with the Welsh team down there, headed up by Lanny Watkins, and Barry's put them all together so you can see everybody's tweet, and what they were finding was the benefits of being on the programme and how it's then gone on and impacted learning and teaching within their classroom. So what we want to think about is the actual process. So if I click on this link, we should be able to go to the link that takes us to the information about the MIE Expert programme. So this is the website that it'll take you to, and it tells you a little bit here about the programme and the steps that you are you have to go through for it, and the role as an MIE expert. How much you engage with the programme is relating to how much you get out of it. The more you engage with it, the more you will get out at the end of it. So there's 3 steps that we're looking for you to do. I'm just going to go back to my slides, beg your pardon. So that link there takes you to the website where all the information is. They have got an open nomination process at the moment that's running from the 14th of November, the 15th of November to the 15th of December, and then that window will close again and won't open again until around about May time. So within the UK this year, there's actually 2 windows for applications. So you can apply just now, or you will have to apply again come May time. But a lot of the information you will already have, and you will then be building on that if you decide to apply later on in the year as well. So WE checklist for us, first of all, is: are you on the Microsoft Education Centre, which most people are, and are you a certified MIE? So when you go on to the Microsoft Educator Centre, you can go on and you can check your profile. Once you're logged in, you just click on your name top right, and you can check that you are certified MIE, along with all the badges that you have. And for today's session, there's actually a code as well there that you can claim, and you can add that to it, so it's showing all the training that you have done. So just to actually show you here, so I'm just going to go to the Educator Centre. I've been on quite a few times, which is here. And once you are logged in, if you click on your name on top right, you will be able to go in and you'll be able to see your profile, and you can see all the badges that you have redeemed. And the one that you're looking for, which I got many moons ago, is down here, and we're looking for this one that says Certified Innovative Educator. So we need to have that first of all, and then you'll be sharing your transcript, but I'll come back to that in a little minute. Oh, back to where we were. So as I said, that window is open till the 15th of December. I recommend not waiting to the 15th of December, because when it comes to the application, there's 2 phases. The first phase is letting Microsoft know about you. It is not about marketing purposes or them getting information and then bombarding you with emails. If you're applying for a program, it's about telling Microsoft, who you are, where you work, what you use within your schools. Are you using tablets, Chromebooks, iPads? What tools you use? Are you on social media, so that they can see if you're anything that you've been sharing there. But it does not impact your application in any way at all. So don't feel that because you don't use Twitter or you don't use Facebook for your professional platform, that's fine. It's just so that they can get some information from you. And if you're not in the classroom, that's okay as well. When they talk about educators, that could be a classroom teacher, you could be a head teacher, you could be working for a company that does professional learning for teachers, you could be a librarian. It's a whole variety of people who work within education. And learners are not always students. It is whoever you are working with. So that could be other teachers that you're training because you are a development officer within your local authority. So a learner is a student or another adult that you're working with that is involved in the training that you are doing. So then we get on to phase 2. And phase 2 is then split up into 2 parts. So phase 1 is all about telling them about you and what you're using. Phase 2 goes on and is split up into 2 parts. We said the first part is called a machine scored session. And we're going to have a little look at some of the questions. Because it's machine scored, they're looking for you to have a pass rate of about 70%. They ask questions about what it is that you're using, how often do you use tools like Teams, OneNote, Forms, Sway. And if you pass and get 70% on that, it asks you some other questions as well about using those tools. Then what happens is the rest of it, which is part 2, is going to be looked at by the UK education team. So what I would recommend is, don't wait until December the 15th to put in your part 1. If you do that earlier, then what can happen is you'll get something back to say that you've passed it, and phase 2 will then, part 2 will then be looked at. And this is where you'll be putting your Microsoft Educator Centre transcript in as well. So if I just escape from this, we will go and we will have a little look at it. Find the website. So if we go down here, it says step 3, you are ready to nominate. So this is the nomination link here. And if you click on that, it will take you to this page where you're asked to register. If you've nominated before, you might already be on it, but you're asked to register on that, and that's where you'll do your self-nomination. But there is a web link here, okay, and it's got the questions in it, and this is a fantastic document. This is what I use myself. This is a new process this year, and that document is a Word document. And what it does is it actually shows you the whole process for nomination. So I said to you that bit at the beginning about you. This is the phase 1 questions, asking you whether you are a trainer or school leader, are you part of a showcase school or not, the ages of the students that you are working with. So this is all that information gathering so that they learn about you. Then we get on to the machine scored questions. So you can actually see what it is that it's going to ask you. And I would really recommend downloading this and actually having a go at this first of all and putting your answers onto this. And then you can copy and paste them into the online portal. So it's asking you how many learning paths or trainings you've recorded. So you've completed, sorry. You can go in and you can have a little look at all the badges and the courses that you have done over your time on the Education Centre. Sorry, I'm on the wrong one. And then it's asking you about your use of Microsoft technologies. Now, it's Microsoft Expert program, so they are looking for you to have been using these. Be honest with them. There are things that you may not be using very often. So, for example, myself, we don't have access to Minecraft in my school. So that's something that I rarely use. Very, very rarely am I using Minecraft Education Edition. But things like OneNote, I am using them daily. Teams, I'm using them daily. Forums, I'm probably using them weekly with my students. So this is just to give an idea of what tools you're using and how often you're using them. Again, you may not be using STEM at all because you're not in one of the STEM subjects. That's fine. But they'll then go on and they're going to ask you some questions about accessibility. So they're asking you here through the immersive reader and the learning tools, what can students do with those learning tools? And you're asked to then check the answers off. They ask you a question about Teams. They're going to ask you a question about forms, about OneNote, and about breakout rooms within Teams as well. Now, within Glow, I use Glow in my school. We don't have breakout rooms accessible to us that we use with our students. So this is not something that I am using all the time. So I was a little bit thrown by this. But this application is for people who have access to all tools, and some tenancies, they might not have access to all of them, but they're asking questions about all the tools that are available within Microsoft. And what they've put at the bottom of this document, and Microsoft have said, this is to help you, to guide you. This is not a test. This is that, okay, you're maybe not using breakout rooms with your students, but you can go on here, you can have a little look at Teams, and you can click on the link and you can find some videos that will help you to answer those questions and a little bit of support. So there's some links there to support you and guide you if you're struggling with some of the questions. And then that's about learning as well. So then you're learning how to do breakout rooms, even if you're not maybe using them as often as other people are. So there's a few questions there that they're asking you about the different tools, and they're looking for you to be using these tools and answering the questions based on it. And that takes you to the end of phase 1. Now, if you don't get that 70%, that's okay. You can do phase 1 again, as long as it's before December the 15th. And in phase 1, they're also going to ask you for a transcript of your educator centre information. So if I go back to the educator centre, which is here, and I go into my profile with all those badges that are there, you'll see there's a bit that says view transcripts. You can redeem today's codes there, and that will then be logged for you. You can also then go on to view transcript, and when it views your transcript, it gives you a PDF document of all the training you've done, which is actually great when it comes to your GTCS registration up here in Scotland at the end of the year as well, because you can upload that as a PDF, and it's got all your durations down the side. But all the training that you've taken part on is logged there, so you can see lots of the ones that I've taken part in, and the codes that I've redeemed are there. So what you'll want to do is you want to save that and then store it somewhere. So what I've done, and I will just take you on to the next screen. It was Roz that actually shared this with me. She's downloaded her training transcript here, just like I showed you. She has saved it. And then what I do is I then upload that to my Glow OneDrive, and then I share that to anybody with the link. That will then give me a link to this PDF of all my training, and that gets put in at the end of your phase 1, your phase 2 part 1 questions, so that Microsoft can see that you are on the Educator Centre, that you've got your certified MIE and some of the courses that you have been doing. So then we're on to part 2. And this is the part of the process that is much longer answers. Again, you can see in that Word document, I'm going to flick in and out here, the Word document that's here, you will see the long answer questions. Now, what I would recommend you do is actually, in a Word document, type these out first, spend some time preparing them. The questions have a minimum character limit of 500. Now, it's 500 characters, not 500 words. And it has a maximum character limit of 2000. So you can type up your passage first in a Word document, save that Word document, and then you can copy and paste it into the online portal when you are ready to submit. You can do it in stages, so you can save it as you go along. But we'll take you through the questions that are asked. So the first one that's asking you is how you are using Microsoft tools to increase accessibility for all your learners. What are you using, and how does it support your learners? So we're talking here about tools like Immersive Reader, Read Aloud that's within Immersive Reader. Are you using the coloured backgrounds within Immersive Reader? But also potentially things like Dictate. Do you have students that struggle to type or write, and are they using Dictate because it's easier for them to get their ideas down? That might be something that you're talking about. For me, my students, I have a visually impaired student in my classroom, and what I do is I use OneNote as my whiteboard, and that student can then follow along all the notes that I'm putting up on the main board for all my students. I can put them up on the big board, but she can follow along in the OneNote at a device in front of her because she can't actually see what I'm putting on the board. So that's how I'm using tools that we maybe don't think about as accessibility tools, but it makes my classroom much more inclusive. So it could be that you're using video, it could be that you're using Dictate, Immersive Reader, all these tools. So they're looking for you to explain how you are ensuring every student in your class is able to access the learning. The second question is then looking at what you do. So they're asking you to explain a unit, a project you've done, some lessons. It could be a topic, and what Microsoft technology you incorporated, and what 21st century skills that you used. Now, those of you that have been on the Microsoft Educator Centre platform hopefully are familiar with the 21st century CLD learning pathway. This is a badge that you can do on the Educator Centre, and it takes you through all the different levels and different aspects of 21st century learning, whether that's collaboration, whether that's problem solving, use of ICT, knowledge, and so on. And in this question, for question 1, they're looking for you to explain a lesson or a project, a series of lessons or a project within your class, and how it links to those 21st century skills. So for me, what I was talking about was, it was one of the key areas within my National 5 class, and the activity that the students had to do was they had to go away and they were researching a particular topic on deforestation. They then had to go away and create a sway about it. They also had to then add some audio into their sway. They then had to share their sway with other students in their classroom to get feedback from that, and then they posted the link in Teams. So I was able to explain what they were doing and how they were building their knowledge, how they were building their collaboration skills, because we were working in groups for it. You're not expected to describe every 21st century skill there, because it is only a maximum of 2,000 characters, but touching on a few of them and how they were brought in to your classroom. So don't be put off when it says, units or projects. It might be 2 or 3 lessons that work on a specific part of the course that you're doing at that point. Or if you are a trainer, it might be a series of lessons that you've done, maybe a series of training sessions that you've maybe done with a school, or that you've done with a group of people, and their skills have developed. And how do you know that their skills have developed? It could be that they're coming back and telling you what they're doing in the classroom. Question 3 is where you have got to show what you're doing. So it's a learning artifact they talk about, and this is showing what the objectives were in a lesson that you've done, how you use the Microsoft tools, and then what the impact was for the students. You should always be thinking about the impact. Now, for my learning artifact, I'll show you, there's various ways that you can use your learning artifact, My learning artifact, which actually hasn't come up, I'll go back and I'll just click on that here. I did it as a Word document and just shared it as a PDF. And my learning artifact was around a key area that I did with advanced higher biology. So what they had to learn was they had to understand by the end of the lessons how a nerve impulse was transmitted. So on my learning artifact, I've got a screenshot of the OneNote page that we use, and the OneNote has an example of a video that the students were watching. There was then a live simulation that they had to do, and then there was a series of questions based on that they then had to answer. And I've given a little bit of feedback here and a wee score for the student. So I've shared that there. What the students then had to do was they had to demonstrate their understanding of it by creating a Flipgrid video. So not only were they gaining the knowledge through the OneNote, they then had to explain their learning through the Flipgrid video. So I've put a link into the Flipgrid video there so they can see what one of my students has created. And that was just a little screenshot as well to show them what it looked like. So they can see the video and they can actually see the students have gone and done this. So it's evidence of what they've been doing in my classroom. If you don't have students and you're working with teachers or other educators, Amanda and Roz actually shared theirs because they are working with a whole variety of people. And they decided to do their learning artifact as a sway and share that through a link. For me, as I said, mine's was a PDF. I'm just going to show you how I shared that out. If it will go back. And then I just went up there. I then went to an anyone link. And then once I clicked apply, it gave me a link that I could copy and add that to my application. So for this one here, Amanda's learning artifact was a sway. So she has a link that she can then share in the application. And she was talking about some of the stuff that she had been doing within her school and the feedback that she was doing. You can see she's got other information in there. She's got an example of a forum where she was gathering information back from parents. She's got some screenshots in there of the team and how they were working together. And she's also got a couple of examples of people. She was actually working with a couple of MIE experts. So she was showing the benefits that they had found to the session that she had done with them. The other artifact that I've got, just to give you another example, from Roz. She is working with teachers only. She's not in the classroom at all. So she shared some examples of tweets for the sessions that she's done. And there's a little bit of feedback possibly on the tweets as well. She's given out a forum to the people that have attended the session. So she can show the impact that her sessions are having for that. She's got a little bit of feedback there as to what people are doing in their classrooms. So she's connecting and keeping in touch with the people that she's doing the training with so that she can get feedback from them. So it's about showing Microsoft, this is what I'm doing. These are the tools that I'm using. And this is the impact it's having on the learners that I'm working with day to day. So that's our learning artifact. Your learning artifact can be linked to your series of lessons, but it doesn't have to be. So I talked about one activity in question 2, one series of lessons, and then the learning artifact was something entirely different from the course. So question number 4, which is the last question if you're not a returning MIE, is about your own professional development and how you've been helping others. So they're looking for you to give 2 examples of what you have been doing, what courses, what training you've taken part in. Now that could be on the Educator Centre, it could be a webinar that you've attended, it could be an in-person session that you joined, it could be this one, for example, and talking about how it's then supported your learning and what you got out of the session. They're also asking you to give any a description of any activities that you have led. So this idea that you are helping others, that could be that you've maybe worked with 1 or 2 teachers within your school. You've maybe worked with your whole department and been supporting your department, or you could have been working with hundreds of people in your local authority or across Scotland. So 2 examples of your CLPL and how that's impacted you and benefited you, and also any activities that you've done that you've supported other people and how that has benefited them in their learning and teaching, potentially across your school or in their school. So that's question 4. The nomination portal, as I said, what I would recommend is go onto it and download that Word document that we've just looked at in today's session, and please check out those help links at the bottom if you need any help with it. You can then complete the Word document, copy and paste it into the portal, but you can save it and come back to it. When I did it, I did phase 1. You can't submit it till everything's done. But I then went in and I did question 1. And then I did question 4. And then I did question 3. And then I put my artifact in last, because that was the one that took me the longest time. It's actually a very good self-reflection process. It really made me look at what I was doing this year and the impact it was having and the impact I was having on other teachers as well. So it is a really good way of reflecting on everything that you've done, because you'd be amazed at how much you actually have done. If you're on social media, I would say go back and have a look at your social media. I share lots on Twitter as a reminder to myself as to what I'm doing, because I can always go back and have a look for OneNote or Flipgrid or team stuff that I'm doing, and I've always got pictures on there, and I can screenshot them and use them and remind me, particularly for my process that's going to be starting in May next year. I know one of the other MIE experts, he has a blog. Malcolm Wilson has a blog. If you haven't checked it out, look for Malcolm Wilson on Twitter. His blog is fantastic for learning. And he says he uses his blog again as a way of logging everything that he's doing and then sharing that out with other people. So download that Word document and go through those questions, and then you can save them. And once you've done them all, you can click submit. But as I said, I wouldn't wait until the 15th for that, because that machine learning bit, you need to get 70% for it. And those questions 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the questions that are going to be looked at by the UK education team. Louise, who is the MIE Expert Community Manager, and Jen, who is our teacher lead, they are going to be sitting down and looking at everybody's applications for this process throughout the year. So a couple of top tips. Remember, it's not a test. It's about reflecting on your successes over the year. Make sure you take your time with those questions. And things like your artifact and your MEC profile, please make sure they are being shared publicly. Those links that you generate, put them into a private browser. And if you put them into a private browser, you can check that anybody can access that without the need for logging in. A couple of years ago on the older process, we had people sharing, and unfortunately, there was quite a few people's applications we couldn't access because it asked us to log in, and it was logging in with their tenancy, which we don't have. So a lot of people missed out on that just because they hadn't shared correctly. Remember and save. You can do that application in stages, and you won't hear anything probably until the mid to end of January. I don't have the exact date for when you'll hear about being on the programme. You will have an email out. So whatever email you use to sign up on the portal for, that will be the email that your success will be sent to if you're on the programme. Sometimes it goes into your junk, so always check your junk as well. It's also Seattle time, so it usually doesn't come through to us in the UK in the evening before we hear. But you usually know on social media when the emails have gone out, because people start sharing, and they start sharing their badge out as well. So a couple of things to think about. And as I said, that's today's MEC code as well, if you want to claim that on your educator centre and log that you've been involved in today's session. So I think we are about 40 minutes in. That is me taking you through the session. If anybody has any questions, I will stop sharing my screen now, and then we'll have a little look and see if anybody has any questions that they are looking to be asked tonight. So we've got a couple of comments in there, but at the moment, no questions. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. If you don't have any questions at the moment, but you start the process going through the application and you have questions, then please, you know, have a little look on Twitter, as we said, at SFM36. You'll find me there, or use hashtag team MIEE Scotland, and the guys that are within the MIE Expert program will be happy to help. Somebody will offer you some support. If you want to speak to people one-to-one, send them a DM, and the guys on the program, all 200 of them, are always happy to help anybody who wants to join and needs help with the application. It's not a hard process. It's not too long. It'll take you a wee bit of time, particularly making that artifact. Your artifact, as we said, it could be a Word document, it could be a PDF, it could be a sway. You might want to make a video explaining everything and then have some, you know, screenshots. So you could make a PowerPoint and then talk over the top of it. So that can show all the things that you are creating this year. And then you can share that via a link as well. So there's lots of ways that you can share the artifact. Just make sure that that link is open so that anybody can access it. So thanks for joining today, guys. I hope you found the session beneficial. If you are watching back on demand, then because you're in class at the moment, then again, I hope you found it beneficial. You can pause this video at any point and you can go back and have a look at those slides and reach out to me if you are needing any help. Take care, guys.